All the guitar tones you just heard in that opening track were generated from this guitar. And I'm talking amp tones, effects, and everything. Generated right from this guitar. Connected via a USB-C cable directly to my laptop. No audio interface necessary. That's called OTG recording, on-the-go recording, and that's one of the many features you get with this Enya Inspire guitar. It's a smart guitar, and it can do a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk all about it today on RayPlaysGuitar. Let's get into it. So I wasn't really familiar with what a smart guitar was before Enya contacted me and said, hey, you want to review this guitar? And I looked at it and was like, yeah, that looks really, really interesting. The cool features about this, not only is it a regular guitar that plays great, looks cool, is really super comfortable, easy to play, but it has a built-in speaker with a 15-watt amplifier, and it has amps and effect models that you can edit, store, and recall and play right from this guitar. But it also functions as a regular guitar with 3 regular pickups in there. So first of all, let's just talk about the guitar as a guitar, and then we'll talk about the smart features later. It's made from an acoustic carbon fiber composite. What does that mean? Well, acoustic means it's you know, made for sound. I think that's just a marketing term. Carbon fiber is the carbon fiber. Now the composite part, that's other stuff that they mix in with the carbon fiber. I don't know what that is.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
But I have a feeling it's like plastic kind of stuff. The guitar feels like plastic to me. But the carbon fiber adds strength. But unlike a lot of other carbon fiber guitars, this is manufactured a little differently. Most other guitars are made from layers of carbon fiber fabric that is pressed into a mold, and then an epoxy resins are added, and that's how it's done. But this is die-cast molded, I guess. And that's how they can get this really smooth heel. It's basically a one-piece body. And I put that in quotes because there's other pieces, like this back piece comes off, and I believe this scratch plate will come off. And that's what these things are. These are just screws. These are just things that are covering screws. And what are those screws holding down? I think it's the scratch plate, because I can't figure out how else you would get to the pickups. Anyway, so you have this carbon fiber composite body. It is a 25.5-inch scale, like a standard Fender scale. It has 25 frets. It has 24 normal frets, and then it has a 0 fret here. And in guitar math, 24 plus 0 equals 25. The headstock is angled back, so there's no need for a string tree. You have these custom tuners, they say. They have the Enya name on the back. The frets themselves are nickel frets. I think, what do they call them by their proper name? Copper, nickel, silver alloy or something. But yeah, they're basically just your normal nickel frets. That's one of the things that concerns me about this guitar. I don't know how easy it is to change these frets. Nickel frets are going to wear down eventually. I really wish they would have just made stainless steel frets. Then you just wouldn't have to worry about it. But how will they hold up? That's still yet to be seen. I have a feeling I'm going to play this guitar a lot, so that's one of the things I'm worried about. But time will tell. The fret work itself is excellent. This thing feels great. There was no dead spots, no high spots. It was done really nice. And the way that the frets are rounded on the sides, it's super comfortable. And I like these understated fret markers also. Now, one of the things I really love about this guitar is the shape of the neck. It has a V down here, an offset V, moving to a C as you move up the neck. Now, the offset is the high point of the V is up on this side of it. It's not in the middle. It's kind of more on the higher side. And it has a really nice, comfortable feel about it. I've never played a guitar that has that much of a offset V, but I like it a lot. It's super comfortable to play. And as you move up, it has a very familiar feel. And the body itself is contoured, so it's higher in the middle. I don't want to say it's carved, because it's not. It's molded. But it's molded to have a curve. It does have a 2-point floating trem, which does have a nice feel, and we'll be testing out how well it stays in tune a little later. And then on the back, you have this adjustment here, which is kind of nice. It's the same type of access and adjustment that you have for your truss rod. So even though it's a carbon fiber guitar, you still get a a truss rod, and that allows you to fine-tune the relief of the neck to your liking, which is nice. Now, one of my pet peeves is I did change strings on this guitar, and it was a pain in the keister to get the strings out of those holes. So I wound up taking off this back part so I can get those strings out because they weren't coming through those holes. And if you do take the back off, be careful because there's a wire connected to this back plate for grounding. So if you just yank it out, you're probably going to disconnect that wire. Well, when I pulled out these little rubber nubs to access the screws, there was a little sticker out covering the screws with something in Chinese on there. I assume it's saying, hey, if you break this seal, you're voiding the warranty or something like that. But anywho, I didn't care. I had to change the strings, darn it, and that was the fastest way to do it. But it feels great. I love playing this guitar. So the fretboard itself is still just that carbon fiber material. They painted it or whatever they do to make it look like ebony. It still feels nice. It feels really nice. Now, let's get into the smart features.
I am the smart. I am the smart. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T.
For connectivity, you have a USB-C cable, a 1/4 inch, and then an 1/8 inch headphone jack. This knob serves as a master volume and an on switch. If you hold this down for 3 seconds, the guitar turns on and there's a little light that shines up around it. And you basically have 4 banks. Let's check it out. So now we're going to be hearing this guitar through this speaker. Like I said, it is a 15-watt amplifier that we have in here, but it's not like 15 tube watts, that's for sure. My 15-watt amps will blow your head off. These 15 watts are loud enough to go busking or play in a jam session or do a writing session or something, but it's not 15 tube watts, that's for sure. So you have 4 banks here. This green one I have set to a clean sound. And you can hear some chorus on there. And I think that's it. If you press this again, it takes you to the second bank. And now a blue light comes on. And I have this as a kind of an overdrive setting. These are not the factory presets. I modified these tones. Press it again. Now we're into a heavier tone. Oh, and this is one thing that happens. You get feedback when the guitar's all the way up. Now, I have these tones pushed. I got the volumes really hot, but feedback is an issue that I've heard other people mention. Now, for me, it's not that big of a deal. This patch has a noise gate on there. But if you get it going, you can get it to work in your favor. I grew up playing through very loud amplifiers, so I really got used to hitting that volume all the time. Except, and this is my biggest pet peeve with this guitar, I wish they put, or let me explain this. This is your master volume. This controls all of the sound happening. This is the volume just for your pickups. And that's the volume I want to get to while I'm playing. That's the volume that I ride the volume all the time. So I wish this volume was closer and then this volume was farther away. That's my only pet peeve. And especially if you got the whammy bar in, it's hard to get to that volume way down there in an expedient manner. And you could hear the guitar's out of tune just from using the whammy bar a little bit. But sometimes if you wiggle it, and this is for any whammy bar, not just this one. If it's out of tune, you kind of I yank it back. And a lot of times it'll kind of go more back into tune. Press this again, we get into that fourth bank or fourth channel, whatever you want to call it. It lights up purple, and there's more of a lead tone. So let me do this. I'm going to lower the microphone to put it closer to the speaker, and then just kind of go through those tones again so you can hear what's going on a little better. So that's one thing that happens is natural tremolo when you move your arm across that speaker. So if you're doing like a, or how about if you're doing like a, you just got to watch your arm. You're going to get that effect. One thing I didn't mention is this guitar, you can not coil tap, you can change this from parallel to series, or from series to parallel. Now it's in parallel. Let me go to series, parallel. So it's not a coil tap, even though they say it's a coil tap. Coil tap is when you just access one coil. This, you're always operating both, but you're changing whether they run in series or parallel. Series will give you more oomph. Parallel, it kind of thins out more like a single coil, but it's not a single coil. So the speaker sounds pretty good. It's fairly loud. So there it's feeding back. And again, I got these tones kind of, the volume's pushed. So I usually run this with the volume pulled back a little bit, this master volume pulled back a little bit. As you can hear, no feedback issues whatsoever. So yeah, all that reverb you're hearing and everything, it's coming right from this guitar. And you're hearing everything through this speaker right now. It's pretty amazing. Let's put this whammy to the test. You be quiet. Not too shabby. Still in tune. But again, if you're cranking on it that much, sometimes you gotta just yank it back in place. And the strings stay in tune. So now I got this guitar going out the 1/4 inch, plugged into my Suhr Badger 30 amp back here, going into this 2x12 here, loaded with 2 greenback speakers, Celestian greenbacks, and we are on this neck pickup. So now we're hearing just the guitar, no effects, no nothing. This is just pure carbon fiber tone here. Now let's compare the tones of the Enya to this guitar. It's a Fender Aerodyne, also with a curved top, made in Asia. So to me, due to the nature of how this guitar is made, it doesn't react the same way as a solid body wood guitar. Keep in mind, this is, there's a lot of, it's basically a hollow body guitar. There's a lot of air inside this body. It's not solid. There's bracing in here, bracing. Like I said, there's a lot of air in here. And so that puts a little room around your notes. And I find this guitar, it's not as immediate as a solid body guitar. And it kind of, to me, it's a little, it's not as forward sounding. There's always like this kind of a blanket over the sound. Can you work around that? Yeah, with EQ and things, you can kind of work around that. But it's not as tight and as a solid body. You can still gent, but it's a little flubby on the bottom end compared to other guitars. Is it an issue? Not really. For what this is, I mean, this is not really it's not going to become my number one guitar, but I'll tell you right now, it is my number two guitar. It's my favorite guitar to play while I'm going number two. Why? Because it has all these cool effects built right in and a speaker. And on top of that, you could Bluetooth right into here. It has Bluetooth capabilities. So it comes with the Enya Music App. And that app, you connect to your guitar, and that was not a problem at all. It connected right away. And there you can have your 4 banks, and there's 4 memory slots inside each bank. And you can edit everything. You can even upload your own pictures for those. And that part is cool. And the app also has a drum machine and a tuner built right in too, which I didn't discover right away. 2 little issues that I had with the app was I couldn't figure out how to turn on and off the individual effects. And I was double tapping, I was going into the effect and like trying to hit the light. There was no on and off switch. Turns out you have to swipe the little icon, the little effect icon on the bottom of the page. You have to swipe that up. That wasn't intuitive to me. But once I figured that out, okay, not a problem. The other issue I had with the app was connecting my phone to play Bluetooth. Turns out there's another Bluetooth name you have to look for in your list of Bluetooth devices. So even though the app is connected to your guitar, you still have to connect it. I think it's called Inspire Music I think it's called Inspire Music or Inspire Audio. So you look for that in your Bluetooth list, connect to that, and then you'll be getting Bluetooth audio out of your guitar. Now let me tell you, once my phone was aware of the Inspire Audio Bluetooth, it connects all the time. Not a problem, even when I don't want it to. But those are kind of more user errors than faults of the app itself. Although I think the on and off thing on the effects could have been a little bit more intuitive. But my biggest gripe with this guitar is the volume knob. I wish this volume was here and this was here. But I've been having a ton of fun with this guitar. It's a great travel guitar, and with the headphone output, you don't have to bother anybody, but with the speaker, you can. Great for practice sessions, songwriting sessions, or just recording that quick idea with effects and everything. But the playability on this is great. Would I use it at a gig? Maybe as a backup, but not as my main guitar. The pickups don't sound the greatest to me, but I shouldn't say it's just the pickups. It's a carbon fiber guitar, so it's going to sound different. It has a different nature about it, but it still sounds like a guitar. And as you heard in that opening recording, you can be creative and make music with this instrument, and it definitely is an instrument. Like I said, I've kind of been playing nothing but this since I got this guitar. This guitar is available, I think, in 6 or 8 different colors, a variety of different colors. This particular one is one of their signature models, and it's their Project Luo. Luo Tatiani. She's a Vocaloid. I didn't even know what a Vocaloid was before I looked her up. But yeah, she's a virtual singer. She's owned by Yamaha. She's 5'1". My 6-year-old picked out this color. That's why I got it. But I think it's kind of cool. I really do. But they have some more modest offerings, black, white, and then like a 2-tone sort of thing. And then they have some other signature models too. But they play great. They feel great. They have a cool look. Weight. The weight on this, it's heavy for a carbon fiber guitar, but it's very light for a carbon fiber guitar that has a 15-watt amp and speaker built in. Very light. Lighter than some of my other guitars. I think this is around 7 pounds. So I think that weight is good because it makes it feel like a traditional guitar, what you're used to. I think if it gets too light, it might start feeling like a toy. Although, the older I get, the more I like lighter guitars. Great guitar for a beginner. Why? You have everything. You don't have to deal with amps. You don't have to deal with anything, pedals, nothing. Right out of the box, you're playing guitar and you got some different sounds to play around with. And it's a quality instrument. Way better than a lot of those beginner guitars that you see. And I mean, you can get a beginner pack for what, $400 or something like that. But then you have a separate amp, separate this, separate everything. Here, all in one. Don't even have to worry about it. And these, I definitely say, play way better than a lot of those entry-level Squiers or Epiphones or what have you. I didn't think I'd be digging this guitar as much as I do, but since I've gotten it, I love this thing. It's fun. I play it all the time. It's a great couch guitar. Great guitar for the beach, for camping, what have you. But that is the Inspire guitar from Enya Music in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please leave those down in the comments. Do you have one of these? Have you played one? What do you think about this whole smart guitar idea? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to RayPlaysGuitar, hit that notification bell, but most of all, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.